everybody, and welcome to another episode of Absolutely Pickled.
You're in for a wild ride today. We've got a former elite soccer player, now turned professional pickleball player, joining us as our guest. Who knew you could play pickleball with your feet?
Lee, would you like to introduce our fabulous guest this week?
Absolutely. Without further ado, we have Jensen, former Ohio State soccer in our neck of the woods football player. And now up and coming person to watch on the pickleball court on the pro scene, electric player, but even more electric personality. Welcome.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, Danny, you should know something. I'm in the doghouse right now because we are going to talk a little bit of soccer. Okay. But as we speak, Liverpool versus Chelsea is on TV. Well, I think it starts. Yeah, no, it's on now.
Yeah.
And I told my husband, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're recording a podcast. You've got to go down the pub to watch it. So not have you yelling at the screen while I'm trying to record." So I'm in the doghouse. But before we jump into all about you and your soccer career and then how you transitioned into pickleball, Lee, we have to give a quick shout out because I got a message from Tracy McKenna, who I think you know. And
I do indeed.
She said you're rock, which was nice. And she said, absolutely love the humor and the information you share. And she was excited about our merchandise. So before we go any further, just want to remind everybody, and if you're listening and not viewing, go to the Absolute Pickle website and click on merch. But for those of you watching, we have these cool t-shirts for the ladies. We have these cool t-shirts. We'll have to get you one, Danny, for the boys.
Oh, yeah.
And we have, obviously, the trucker cap, which I never take off. I pretty much sleep in it. And we also have hoodies, and we will be adding more merchandise. Yeah, so...
And they're designed by pickleball players and made by retired pickleball players. So if any of you wonder what retired pickleball players go to do, they're hand-stitching our merch for us.
Yeah. Slave
labor.
Backlog. Yeah, exactly. Slave labor. All right, Danny. Now we've done that shameless plug, let's talk about you. So
Talk to me.
Can you, I know you're currently located in, is it Phoenix, Arizona, or where are you?
Phoenix, Scottsdale, yeah.
Scottsdale, okay. My son is at ASU and he lives downtown Phoenix. Just
there you go.
Sidebar. That's my other son. I've got a soccer player. Well, actually, they're both soccer players. But anyway, not about them. So you're in Phoenix, but where did you grow up? And what was your story growing up?
Yeah, grew up in Colorado for 16 years.
Okay.
Moved to Miami, Florida. Florida had a better, it was for my dad's job, but then Miami, Florida accidentally with that had a better soccer scene. Yeah. The truth behind that is that Colorado's more of lacrosse, football, basketball, baseball. Soccer has, or South Florida has a lot more Hispanics.
Yep.
And the Hispanics are in the culture of soccer or football or whatever you want to call it. So we had just an absolute fantastic teams. English was our second language on our team. So we were.
So your Spanish is good then?
My Spanish is not good.
No, Lee's Spanish is very good. I have none.
So it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me was to move down there. Went from probably like the number 100 team in the country to the number 5 team in the country just in a matter of a summer, right? Just from a move.
Yep.
And then my junior year, that was right between my sophomore and junior year of high school.
Okay.
My junior year, I started off the year one of the top goal scorer in all of academy, so in the country, and so that helped.
So
I was starting to get looks.
So you're a striker. Yeah,
goal scorer. I wanted the big bucks. That's what I was going for. So
you wanted the glory. What number? What's your number?
9.
9. Okay.
What nickname were you given?
It's pretty original. It's just DJ. That's just my nickname because it's just simple. It's simple. It's my name. It was just automatically handed to me. And so then
famous number 9's Alan Shearer for Newcastle. He was English.
Love him.
And my husband looks like him, so I think I might have married Alan Shearer. Anyway,
you probably did.
Keep going.
And then so I got like a big break. I went to an academy showcase. We were the feature game of the day. There was like 600, 700 coaches there, lined the fields, and I just happened to score 2 goals in the first 20 minutes. And
just happened to score.
Yeah. And honestly, I scored 2 goals in all 3 games that week, and it happened to me in those 20 minutes.
Wow.
Just luck of the draw.
Yeah.
And from there, just it spiraled. It snowballed, and then I ended up at Ohio State after a few different official visits. I have actually a crazy story. You guys remember the whole Penn State thing that went down with like?
Yeah.
So I was getting recruited by Penn State, and they were talking. I don't know if I'm probably.
No, you can.
This
we
is
all
fine.
know.
This
You
is
know
fine.
what? Fun fact. I think he is in prison. One of the involved is in prison down the street here.
Oh no way!
Oh, is he?
Well, it's either him or the gymnastics doctor. One of the two is in prison down the street here.
All in the Big Ten. That's always good.
Yeah.
So then I'm getting recruited by Penn State, and they're supposed to come to a game, and they're just nowhere to be found. And I'm like, I wonder if he just forgot, or like if he didn't get the right address. I'm texting him, no text back. I didn't hear from him for like 3 weeks. Like I finally get like a mass email message that was like, hey, just so you know, we've closed off all recruiting things, all recruiting trips. If we haven't been in touch, that's why. And then like 3 days later, everything broke. And so I was like supposed to go on an official visit to Penn State, supposed to do all this crazy fun stuff. Good thing I didn't go on that visit.
Yeah.
So.
No. Yeah, lucky you dodged that bullet.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, right.
So I don't know. It just kind of worked out that Ohio State tended to be the place that got the most money and was offered basically a starting spot freshman year.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
okay,
so it turned out great.
Now I'm going to tell you my sad story. I want to know about your parents, whether your mum was a soccer mum like me. But my eldest, is 23, so a bit younger than you. He was a very good soccer player. Right from the get-go, good athlete, started to show his colors in AYSO, All-Stars and whatnot. That's a funny story. I can tell so many stories. And he was a centre forward because he's quite tall now. But he was doing really well and won 2 CF championships for high school, 2 national state championships. We were in California, so Southern California. I know what you're talking about. A lot of really good soccer players that are just so skillful. And but you know what we're like, Lee. The Finders family. My last name's Finders. We're a show up and play kind of people because we've got relatively good hand-eye. So we don't really like to train and practice. So he could show up and do well, but he didn't put the grind in. So I would have liked to have said that he saved me lots of money on a scholarship, which is what I was thinking. And he was being looked at by UCLA. But then he said, I need the summer off, Mum. And the coach went, if you're not going to play all in the summer, it's not happening. And so he ended up going and just having a fun time with the fraternity and winning every intramural championship. But,
good for him.
It's very sad. So good for you that you stayed with it and you got a D1. Ohio State, they're pretty good, right?
We won a Big Ten championship in 2015, so you can't be mad about that.
No, that's great.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And how were your parents athletic? Did they get, was it just soccer because it's what little boys do when you're growing up?
Me and my dad are like the exact same person. Like if you just took my dad and just put him back in, we're dead honest, the exact same. Our mindset, everything. And
so I could have gone out with your dad and not had to wait in line because you were getting carded. Bingo. He would have been fine.
Bingo. You could have gone out with the dad and birthed him.
No. Poor Danny.
So my dad, I'm just following the trajectory of my dad. Like he's exactly the same as me. I look just like him. Everything kind of goes in that direction. So I tend to think I got a lot of the athleticism from his side, a little bit from my mom's side, but mostly from him. But they were like very casual. They didn't really care what I did. I was way better at baseball ever than I was at soccer. And I just hated baseball. I thought it was boring. But way better. I think my mom cried the day that I quit baseball and pursued soccer, but I just enjoyed it more. And
more going on, more action. Yeah.
So, but it was good.
So they were chill. I'm
super
relatively chill. My husband gets very growly. So there have been many times when I've picked up my walk chair and I'm going over here. And I've gone over here.
My dad used to not sit next to the parents. He wouldn't sit anywhere near him. He would just go to the end of the field. He'd be like drinking his coffee. He didn't care. He had the same reaction if I scored 4 goals in a game to if I got a red card or if he did not care. He was not that he didn't care. He just he's like, did you have fun?
Temperament, right? Yeah.
Yep. He's like, he has 3 questions every day. He said, did you have fun? I was like, we lost. And then be like, did you have good sportsmanship? The answer is probably, kinda. And then it was like, but did you try hard? And it was always, yeah. So it was, as long as those three things were going in the right direction, he didn't really care what else happened, so.
And
those are great models though. That's a great baseline to have, right? Those, if you can answer those, because I mean those are applicable now, right? In the crazy world we're living in pickleball, it's like, did you try? Did you have fun? Did you have fun? It's like, did you behave?
Yeah.
Sometimes yes. He doesn't pass that one.
And it's not that you have to be perfect, right? Like there's days that you struggle on certain things, you're whatever. But in general, like, are you having fun still doing it? Of course, pickleball is the best. Are you like kind of trying your best? Are you trying to improve? Of course, I always have. And then am I like treating everybody how I would expect to be treated myself? Yeah, like I'd buy you guys a beer.
Well,
but I think I did. I think I did. I think you owe me too. I'm
missing out.
But it's also, and if you didn't behave, like, are you aware of your behavior? That's all it is. And it's like,
bingo.
And put it in perspective, and then move forward and be better.
Yeah. So that's all that I grew up on that. And so I never had pressure. I never had pressure to be good. My parents didn't care. I never had pressure to go to college. My parents didn't care about that either. They said, if it comes with it, then it comes with it. If it doesn't, you got to pursue what you want to do. Yeah. And then when I was debating leaving medical sales, which is what I was doing before I was playing pickleball, and going into pickleball, my parents were like, absolutely. Why would you not do that? Yeah. That's basically what they told me. And I was like, it's weird because usually your parents are trying to get you to do the correct things. And here I am just living a good life.
Crafting your way. Well, that's great. They sound like very cool parents.
Yeah, they're great.
Which, a lot of us don't have. There's some good, cool parents. I'd like to think I'm a cool parent, but you never know. And it's so funny that you said medical sales, because my first job out of college was medical sales rep.
Like, you actually want to know what my first job out of college was?
Yes, I do.
I was a blackjack dealer at a casino.
Did you make good money there? I bet.
I mean, you actually don't make bad money. I think that we were averaging between 25 and 35 an hour. But the best part is that you're sitting there for 8 hours a day playing blackjack, and you're on the house side. So I'm winning in blackjack.
Yes.
For 8 hours a day.
For 8 hours. Yeah. Where was that?
That was in Columbus, Ohio. I stayed in Columbus for a few years before I moved out to Arizona.
Oh, okay. Oh, how funny. And then you got into medical sales after that?
I was only doing that for during my last semester. Long story, I had a career-ending injury, got kicked through the face, had major reconstructive facial surgery.
Well, they did a good job because you're a good-looking lad.
Well, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And then I quit soccer. I went and just was like, I have to do another semester of school now. So I just was doing a casino dealer while I was doing that. And then I jumped into medical sales.
Okay. Did you like medical sales, or I found it a bit repetitious?
I'm glad I'm allowed to say anything on this podcast. This is so great.
You can say anything you
Absolutely.
like.
This is unfiltered.
Medical sales sucks. So I'll tell you why.
This segment's brought to you by Pfizer.
Yeah. So medical sales, the wrong position can suck because you're controlled by doctors. And you guys, everybody knows the 80-20 rule, 90-10 rule, whatever you want to call it. Like 10% of my doctors caused me all my problems.
Yeah.
So there was just times I'm just sitting there there's no way I'm actually listening to this person bitch at me. I'm just I'm not doing anything wrong. And you can't shoot them. And they're the same person next week. Same person. They'll get.
You gotta maintain these relationships. We used to say back in the day when I was doing it, a long time ago, before you were even a twinkle in your mother's eye, it was always blonde, smiley. We used to say we're all teeth and samples. So hi. And here's the sucky part for me, right? Lee knows that my maiden name was Tillin. First name Penny, last name Tillin. Penny Tillin Penicillin. And I'm a medical rep. So every 5 minutes they go, oh my god, penicillin. I'm like, oh, that's really funny. I've heard it about 25 times. So I only lasted about just over a year, but that did pay for my master's degree, which got me out here. So that was
there you go.
It's it was a means to an end.
I tend to think that I didn't do so good with the doctors. The doctors a lot more male dominated, everything like that. But me and the nurses just
that was
and
the receptionist. You can get past
and the receptionist.
That's the road.
My bread and butter right in there. Yeah,
that's so good.
So now, anytime we're injured or anything on the pickleball court, we should you should escort us to the hospital, because
Yeah,
you'll get through all the red tape.
You know exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy. And you know what? I'm like allergic to so many things. I go to the hospital all the time. So if you just like want to get seen immediately at the hospital, you just say that you can't breathe. Easy.
And that's what you do, and then they'll
Well,
get it. Okay.
that's usually what's happening to me, is I'm actually not breathing.
Oh God.
And so they bring you in right away, but I'm sure that you could just say that's going on at the same time as you have a broken arm.
Do you have an
Right.
EpiPen in the
Yeah, like
handy always?
I actually think my bag's like on the other side right out here, and it's in my bag at all times.
Wow. So if we ever did a bag check with you for pickleball, you'd pull out the EpiPen.
It's on my Instagram, and the
Is
answer
it?
is yes. I pulled it
Oh,
out,
there you
and I said
go.
I always have an EpiPen because it's too easy to kill me. Exactly.
That's not funny, but
So thankfully you didn't
it-
become a spy or like a kind of double agent, because
Yeah.
you would have been offed very quickly.
It would just be easy to kill me in general. I mean, like you slap me in the face with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, it's like it's worse than a gunshot.
Oh God, you poor thing. Again,
Yeah.
your poor mother.
I hear you.
Your poor mother's going, don't give him that. He's got allergies.
Yeah. And she's like, stop giving people ideas.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
You have way too many enemies to do that. Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's move into pickleball. How, therefore, did you transition into the fun world of crazy pickleball?
Yeah, I got invited to I think it was like a 5 a.m. session at this local park called Herberger right down here in Scottsdale.
Okay.
And I just like fell in love with it immediately. I was so bad. I was like 2.5 years ago, because it was actually July 5th or July 6th, because it was the weekend of July 4th. It was right after that. I stepped on the pickleball court for the first time, and then I played every day after that for like 4 hours in the morning. I just like started doing that. My numbers started going like this.
But your game started going like this, right?
Well,
It was
yeah,
like,
my game started going up, and I thought it was great. I was enjoying it so much. But I was a true 2.5, like a true 2.5 when I started playing. Like the only thing I could do is kind of move, but that's it. So right now, like my journey over the last 2.5 years to get to where I'm at started at 2.5. And there's a lot of tennis players that will never ever understand what it's like to be a 2.5. Being a 2.5 is very frustrating.
Did the baseball not help though? Because oftentimes I talk about, and again, with these very beginners, about keeping their hands in front. And I say it's very much like bending down and fielding a baseball.
It is. So did that? It did. It totally helped. But I think it helps after a certain point. At the very beginning, I'm like, I didn't even know what this thing was in my hand. I was just like sometimes I'd go to swing and like I don't know, like my paddle would be like this instead of like this. So you'd be like missing the ball because you're just like, because I'm just like, I'm not used to anything. And this was like the first week. I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. And so finally I realized like, I just need to stop swinging for the fences and thinking I'm the best and just go back to the basics. Finally, I started learning, because my backhand is like a lefty baseball swing, basically, right? The way you hold which hand's on top. Because if you're righty baseball swing, you have your right hand on top, but I'm a righty, so my left. So it was a little bit awkward for me to like learn a backhand at all. And I don't know, just like little things were very difficult for no reason. But I just realized like if I'm actually going to be good at pickleball, I have to like play pickleball, because I played against all these tennis players and they are just killing me because like they would just walk all over me because I didn't have that tennis natural ability, but I tried to play with them the same way. Yeah.
Did you take lessons or did you just teach yourself?
I bought a ball machine. Well, I took one lesson.
One lesson. This is so great, because one of the Dear AP questions, oh my God, this is so great. Keep going.
So I bought a ball machine like the first week and a half that I played pickleball, because I was like, I'm so sick and tired of losing. And it only took me a week and a half. I don't think I won a game in that week and a half. And then I went to use the ball machine, and I just went to my courts where my parents were living, and I just would hit on the ball machine all day. That's all I would do, because I just had to like learn how to hit a ball.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's like, it sounds so basic, but like you literally just had to learn how to hit the ball and then make a ball. And then all of a sudden, like, you're making balls.
What's frustrating is you have, from soccer and baseball, incredible hand-eye coordination, right? And ball tracking skills, right?
Yeah.
You know where your feet are, you know where your hands are, you know where the ball is, and your body is in relation at all times.
Yeah.
But then now you have a different instrument that you're using,
Exactly.
And then applying that I think that to me has got to be the most frustrating, because you see what's happening, but yet this is where it's failing, whereas most people don't see what's happening and they're still failing, right?
Yeah.
But your learning curve is like, and it's like you function in the I should be able to do this, I should be able to do that, instead of going, okay,
Yes.
how can I do this now? Because I see what's going on.
Exactly. And I'd be in the right spot at the right time. I'd be able to read the game really well, and then I would just miss.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not like I'm doing the things wrong, because usually, like you said, people are just completely off. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I know I'm going to get a ball right here, and I'll hit it through the back fence or maybe over the fence. And I was like, that should be a kill. Like, right?
Yeah,
like it's easy. So yeah, so some of that was very frustrating for a while. It was a lot to handle with my ego. I had to like put my ego in check a little bit, but over the course of time, like it's gotten better. Now I'm getting my ego checked again in pro pickleball, so that's good. It's good for me.
So, yeah, but you've made a name for yourself, not because of reality pickleball, right?
Yeah.
I think people were starting to know who you were on the pickleball scene. And yes, did the reality pickleball, show help 100%, but don't discredit your talent and your hard work, because people take notice.
So let's talk about that. So not everybody knows about this reality pickleball show. So pretend I know nothing, which is not far from the truth, and just explain what it is, how you got involved, what's the whole premise, what have I got to look forward to?
Yeah, so there's 8 guys, 8 girls.
Okay.
That's who is in the filming.
Okay.
And basically the best way I compare it to is like what you would consider like a cooking show. So you got on there, and there would be some sort of challenge.
Okay.
Like you'd all be competing in a challenge, and then the bottom 2 would go to an elimination. So it's more like a cooking show. Where,
Right.
And they're cooking off, then they taste or whatever, and then you like compete in like some sort of game at the very end, and then the loser of that game would get eliminated.
Got it. Is there any team element to it, like Survivor, where you form alliances and any of that, or is it just individual?
So yes, sort of like we all came in as strangers, and we only spent 9 days together. We filmed every day from noon to about 2 a.m. So we were just like filming.
So sleep deprived.
Completely sleep deprived. Everything hurt because you can only be on the court for so long.
Yeah, tell me about it.
And you're just
you're young. Imagine how we do.
So I'm over there so obviously we're strategizing, but the emotions are getting higher towards the end of the week because you have no sleep, you are tired, you're in like this environment where you got to be kind of like aware at all times, and
you hurt, your body hurts,
everything hurts. Yeah, like you actually, like, there was a point where like we were getting IVs. I mean, like we were just like trying to like figure out like how to just survive the week and just be there. And there was like it was sponsored by an energy drink. So all of us are just downing energy drinks, which also is like probably not the best thing for you when you're trying to hydrate and doing all this kind of stuff. But it was like really helpful in that situation when it's 2 a.m. or like, 1:30, you're like, I got to get on the court again. And but there was definitely a team element for some people because I came in knowing a few people on the show. And it paid off for sure. Like there was definitely some things that happened through the show that like needed to happen. I would say that by the end, I may be the villain. We just don't know yet. We will see.
Everyone loves a good bad guy, though.
I can't disclose any like too much information, but basically I might have done something that my mom would probably not be as happy about.
Was it murder?
I did not kill anybody yet.
Okay. It's so intriguing, and you put us on the edge of our seat.
When does it air?
Yeah, when's it air?
So they're still in talks. Last update we got, they're in talks with such places as like ABC, Netflix, MTV, some other things. But it's all up to like contract negotiation, right? And like when, so they say like if they get a contract, or as soon as they get a contract, hopefully, crossing fingers, then it would be like a month or 2 or 3 after that, like because they got to then set it and schedule it and whatever. I'm just hoping it airs because it'd be, I think it's gonna be really fun to watch depending on how I
Yeah.
make it. Yeah.
Well,
But I also think it's like if it takes a little bit longer to air, it's almost good because you now can focus on your pro career, and then it's like from when the time it airs, people are like, oh, hang on,
Yeah.
I've seen him.
It's
yeah,
perfect. Yeah.
and
And I don't know if they
I
saw
mean,
me
from a
playing pickleball
branding
or at the bar,
perspective,
but it's one or the other.
right?
Yeah.
No, but it's perfect from a brand awareness, and for you as your brand grows, right?
For sure.
But no, I'm excited to obviously see it and to watch your pro journey because I don't have to compete against you.
Well, and I'm really hoping that because you're mic'd up some of the time and you forget that you're mic'd up because you're just tired and stuff. So like there's definitely some things that I probably shouldn't have said at some points. There are probably things
And
that
they're probably looking for those little gems.
Well, the good thing is this is the good thing. It's ran by some like really nice people. And I think that they're trying to make us look good because they know it's like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we're not out here on like Love Island and they're trying to just ruin your life.
Right.
There's definitely some times that I was like saying some things and I do this thing when I hype myself up in pickleball where like I'm about to like serve or I go back after a point and like it's usually after a point I won and I'm like, I could do that every time. They suck, these people. And I just go off in my head and I say it like I literally say it that loud. They can't hear me, but like I'm just like pumping myself up like I could do that every time. Like here we go. And then I turn around, I have the ball and I serve and like I'm not talking to them saying that stuff. And I'm wondering how much of that got caught because
all of it got caught because my stuff gets caught all the time. Like when I go back and I'm like, yeah, who the fuck do they think they are? I'm like, you've got this, but it's like I'm not insulting them. I'm just pumping myself up. And then you look up and there's Karen watching. She's like, heard that. And I'm like, oh, shut up, Karen. No one cares.
I remember being like the camera was like right over there, so I wasn't talking to the camera, but I was like, I could do that all day. Like they suck. They fucking suck. And they're like really good pickleball players on the other side of the court. Like some of your good friends, and you're like, but you're just like telling them
right
in your head, like I can beat them every time. Like it's just like something to get yourself in the right mindset. So I'm just hoping that not everything gets picked up or shared because sometimes it makes you look worse than it could. Yeah. You guys.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll charm your way out of it, Danny. No problem. So now just move. So again, the name of the show, is it likely to change or what is the name of the actual show?
For right now, it's only been told to us as Pickleball Paddle Battle.
Pickleball Paddle Battle. Okay.
Yeah.
But so it might change if somebody picks up and they want to call it something different, maybe?
Yeah, I guess so.
It might change to Danny's Empire.
Yeah.
It might change to like Danny's Last Days. It might.
We just don't know. So honestly, there's like everything right now is kind of up in the air. I mean, some like really good pickleball players were out there. So like competition was super hard. So it's fun. Like when you come out and see who ends up winning, it's gonna be good.
How much do you? So like I know when I first started, right, it was you function in the ice sheds, and you're like, I should be able to beat this. I should be able to hang. It's not that hard, right? And you make and a lot of mistakes are basic mistakes, right? But then you start to play and you realize tactically what's going on. How much homework do you do after the fact when you're like you've lost the match? Like it's and it's like, I try to do this on wins as well, not just losses, because losses are always your best lessons. We forget that we can learn from our wins too, because we probably screwed up a ton too. It just so happened that we screwed up less than our opponents.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
And it's like how much do you go back to that drawing board and go, okay, where did this break down? Or I was in control here till this happened, and kind of game plan. So moving forward, you don't make those mistakes again.
Yeah. So one thing is that I compete in as many tournaments as I can. I think that tournament setting is so different than just like a rec play setting. There's just something that you can't do. The nerves, everything. It's just different. And when you're on that stage and you're competing, I feel like you just get exposed just a little bit more by those great players, right? And so every tournament, I have it in my notes section. I would just like write down something that tournament was something that I wouldn't say necessarily exposed, but something that I could like completely work on that I noticed like I got beat here a bunch, or I made a lot of errors in a certain area. So after like every tournament, and sometimes like my tournaments could be quick. Like you play a PPA, you might be 1 and done, 2 and done. You play an APP, it's the same thing. So even though it's only a couple tournaments here and there, you're still only getting a few pieces of like what you can do, because you could analyze your entire game, but then your next tournament's in 2 weeks. So you don't have time to like go really work on everything. So a lot of times I'd like take one piece and I'd work on it for a few days and just like, next tournament, this is not how I want to be beat.
Right.
Obviously, then there's like who you're playing with is so important in like your chemistry. So sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I got beat. Was it his fault? And I never blame my partners. Like there's always something more you can do. And then you know what? Like
Lee blames her partners all the time.
Lee can.
I never blame my partner. Come on now. It's a team effort. It's like we win and lose together, and win or lose we drink beer, right? But like I would challenge you this. When's your next? Are you playing this weekend?
Yep, playing this weekend, and then I'll play at the end, and I'll do the next 2 tournaments are my Arizona tournaments.
I would challenge you, like, especially when you like, how many times have you had a lead and you're like, oh, we're right there, and then the lead goes away, right? But it's like, how do you play 8, 9, 10, 11 points, 8, 9, 10, and 11, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, if you can be clean there, like your mistakes, you want the mistakes to happen at this side, like up near the end of the game. It's like, to me, it's like, how are we playing those games at 9-all? Am I making my third? Am I making the dinks? Am I just getting the ball over? Am I trying to do something with it? Am I actually doing something with it? Right. Like those are the things that it's in those moments that you can work on from tournament to tournament, because, you know, the beginning part of the game is the beginning part of the game. It's when the game gets tight. What are you doing? And do you rise to the occasion, or do you let the person across from you play that point better, you know?
Yeah. And you know what, I tend to, me and one of the up and comers, other from Phoenix, Augie Augustus Guh, so me and him talk on this a lot. And one of the things that we try to do is like, what got us to this point, to like, let's say your 9 points, that's how you also win the game.
Right.
You don't get to 9 points and then change your strategy to win the game like that.
Or play not to lose all of a sudden instead of playing to win, right?
Exactly. Like, and so it's like, hey, we got 9 points and they're at 4. Let's just continue that exact play. And a lot of times, like, and this is something I tell a lot of people, a good teammate is someone that mentions something before the point. A complainer and a bad teammate is someone that mentions something after the point.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So talk to your partner before, and like, so you want them to hit a drop. Hey, hit a drop on this ball. If it comes to you, let's go to that side, drop it there or whatever. And then, you know, like, but if you tell them that after they drive a ball into the net and you're like, hey, I wanted you to drop that ball.
Yeah, you should have dropped.
Why didn't you tell me?
Should have dropped. Why'd you drive?
At that point, you're a Karen.
Exactly. So I tend to like use that in my own game too, is like, talk about things before the point, because you have time. And
well, I hate to cut off this great discussion, but we must get into our Dear AP section, Danny. So without further ado, it's time for Dear AP. Randy from Dallas, Texas writes, I like to drill, but many of my pickleball friends just want to play games all the time. Should I invest in a ball machine? Is it worth the money? Any recommendations? What do we got?
I would say 100% invest in a ball machine. If you know, because you can work on things, you're going to get it, you know, you can really hone your skill. You know, find better friends that drill. You know, maybe be a little bit more social, Randy.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Randy's just got mates that are really competitive and they just want to play games, and I'm guilty of that. I'm not a real practice person. See, Finders, we just show up and play. So I would be guilty of being Randy's friend that wouldn't want to drill. I'd
say the one thing that's hard about a ball machine is that there's going to be people that take a ball machine and then they go out for an hour and they do 6 different things with the ball machine. That doesn't work, because it takes about 2 to 5 minutes just messing with the ball machine to make it do the right thing anyway. I was just hitting on one this morning. So what I recommend doing, and I'm not saying that I'm perfect or that idea is perfect, but I would always set the ball machine on one thing and I would work on it for an hour and a half to 2 hours, one shot. And if you do that consistently, now all of a sudden over the course of the next 3 weeks, you've probably worked on 21 different shots, or let's say you do it every other day, you've worked on 10 different shots.
Yeah.
And now you've hit all those shots, and then you've gotten in rhythm with those shots too. Because sometimes people stop as soon as they get a rhythm, but that's not when you stop. You just got the rhythm. You got to stop when you're like perfect, you know?
Well, and the only flag on that is, and I see this all the time, is No, I've been working on my dinks for hours, and I go out on the ball machine and I'm like, okay, show me what you're doing. And I'm like, of course your dinks suck. Like you're practicing wrong.
Yeah.
It's like people have no perception.
Yes.
So you practice like shit, but you expect to be a pro, right?
Yes.
And and people will always like, I've had given lessons to people, right? They're like, I wanted to learn a third. They hit one good third. They're like, okay, I got it now. Let's move on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you think we're gonna do anything this whole, I'm gonna make you a complete player this whole lesson in an hour? No. But no, I mean, and I will shamelessly plug the Ernie ball machine because I do work with them. I do love that ball machine. It can do a lot of things, and it makes it a lot easier because they've got a lot of pre-programmed drills on their app. So it's anything that lessens a person touching the actual machine will preserve the lifespan of the machine.
So again, Lee, that was the Ernie ball machine. And where can they find that? Where can Randy go get one of those?
Randy can go get one on our website as soon as I give you the link.
Okay.
So like in 3 months. But no, like Ernie ball machine. Just Google Ernie ball machine.
Okay. There you go, Randy. Okay, well, that's question number 1. Very good answers. Question number 2 is from Sylvia in Lafayette, Louisiana. And she asks, I really struggle at the kitchen line when I get pulled wide to my backhand. I end up hitting the ball too hard and popping it up for the opponents to put away. Can you give me any tips on how to handle that wide ball and how and where to hit it? And then she adds at the end, I'm definitely not at the level where I can hit an ATP yet. I
was literally about to say, can you hit an ATP?
Right.
I'm like, you think,
I'm like, can you move your damn feet, woman? I guarantee she stopped one step too soon and reached across her body, or gone backwards and off balance, right? So she's her ball recognition is late. So she needs to recognize that ball's going to the backhand and move into position and get her body behind the ball. I guarantee that's what's happening.
And I can remember you and I talking about this because I'm just sort of rec level I'm a decent 4.0. I wouldn't say I'm 4.5. I'm somewhere in between. And we were talking, Lee and I was playing with my son, the soccer player, who's getting good now. But of course, he's my son. So there's no filter there. He's telling me if I'm playing crap. And I kept getting isolated on the backhand side and against good players because he's decent. And they were doing the same thing. And they were getting me. I was stuck over there and I'm not very patient as well. So I'm trying to be patient. And I was getting stuck there. And Lee said, and do you remember? I don't know if you remember this, mate. You said, then get around it and play an inside out forehand. Get yourself out of trouble. I went, why didn't I?
More angles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was another tip I would give Sylvia is if necessary.
No, because she can't move to the ball. We already established Sylvia's 250 pounds overweight, one bad leg, and she's playing with friggin' a wooden paddle. So no, she needs to move.
The other thing that I'd say is this is a very common mistake is when you start reaching, then you try to also hit the best shot of your life.
Yes.
You're reaching and trying to hit the best shot of your life. It never happens. And then you do it one time out of 10,000, and then you think that you have that shot like we were just talking about. So then you do it again, when in reality, there's this thing, and I learned it from this guy that he plays a little pickleball. His name's Ben Johns or Ben,
How do you? I haven't heard.
I think he's a bit good, eh? Like he's
like really high 5.0.
Yeah.
And
I was at 4.5, but I mean, I've heard the name.
Yeah. So he was telling me that usually when people are doing, like when balls are going too high, she actually mentioned it in her thing, you're not actually hitting the ball ever like really too high. You're hitting the ball too far. So you can like give yourself a lot of leeway, clear the net. You just can't hit it too far because you can clear the net at head height if it bounces a foot after the net.
As it drops down.
Yeah, you just got to get it to the bounce and then gives yourself back room to get back into the play. Usually people like always confuse like, I hit the ball too high. No, you hit the ball way too far. You hit the ball so they have a high forehand instead of just because if you hit it that high but it stops and it lands in the kitchen, it's still not that high, right? It's high at a different point.
And if you think about it, just because I mean you brought up this decent player, right? like if you've ever watched Ben Dink, right, it looks effortless.
Yeah.
But one thing I think that players don't do enough of is respect the dink. Because I can reach and get the ball over the nets. I can reach out here and do this, right? But at 9-10, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to screw it up because my elbow's going to get involved and my wrist is going to get involved, right? So a lot of times we don't respect the dink and get our body in the right position to hit that dink perfectly every time. And we think we can get away with it because it's such a basic nothing shot.
Yeah.
So in our minds, it's like, oh, this is easy. I can push it back. And you're like, well, I just screwed that up. And now I'm like pissed because I was at 9-9. Now I'm 10-9 down because I made a basic mistake because I didn't respect the fact that I had to move my feet. You know, we're a lot better when the balls hit harder, when we're moving around, when there's space. But when we have to move in a much smaller space, we tend to reach instead of lead with our feet, right? Everything in life we do, we lead feet first, right? The foot goes, and imagine that the arm is there. Like if the arm goes, the foot doesn't necessarily follow. Yeah. Right. So it's like we've got to go feet first. And in the biggest mistakes we make is in dinking. We tend to go arm first, not feet first.
We need new t-shirts, Lee. It needs to say respect the dink. And then I'm not quite sure of the line for the feet first thing, but definitely respect the dink needs to be one of our new merch items, I think.
A kick in the ass first, a slap in the face second.
Yeah.
I love that.
All right, kick in the ass sets up a slap in the face.
Okay, we'll work on that. We need a nice logo for that. Those are the two questions. Thank you for your perfectly excellent answers. Yeah. Final part of today's fun podcast with our guest Danny Jensen is his questionnaire that we ask all our guests. Basically 8 questions, very silly, anything goes, first thing that pops into your head. Okay. So without further ado, here we go. Danny, what is your favorite word?
The F word.
Okay. Was that footwork?
Yeah, footwork, right.
Yeah.
Good. We're coming to that again in a little bit. What's your least favorite word?
Footwork. Because if I'm a soccer player and somebody tells me how to move my feet, like it is the most embarrassing thing of all time. So if I have to work on my footwork, I'm out of here. But that's in pickleball. My least favorite word though, probably like something like spoon or something like that. Banana, something that just like table.
Got it. Right. So well, moving on off the table. Favorite noise. What noise do you love to hear?
You know, I really there's like something just peaceful about like a toaster when it pops up.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you know, like your food's done, like, or like a microwave, like something that's telling you that your food's done. That's
so food related. Brilliant.
Pretty good noises.
Noise on the flip side that you absolutely can't stand.
So you know when you guys do a little bit, but guys, like when you pee straight into the water instead of like hitting the side, and it just like makes that, like, you know what sound I'm talking about. That's
loud. That's not
especially when you're on the phone at the same time.
Exactly. That's like, the noise.
Are you give away right now? Have you no respect for this conversation?
That's it.
Okay. What profession other than pickleball, being a pickleball professional, other than pickleball, what profession would you like to attempt? And it has to be something you've never tried.
Ooh, something I've never tried. I always said I would go back to being a dealer if I had a chance.
Done that. Check that box.
Clarify, blackjack.
Yeah, blackjack dealer. I would love to do craps dealing. I think a career that I'd like to do is some sort of like if I didn't have to like go to law school, but I could just go sit in on cases and argue all day.
Okay.
Probably
A Few Good Men, one of my favorite movies. We watched it the other night.
You can't handle the truth.
Oh, so we quote it all the time. Loads of different lines in that movie. It's brilliant. Okay, what profession other than your own would you not like to attempt under any circumstances?
Yeah, I don't like bees. I probably wouldn't be a beekeeper.
Beekeeper, right? Mm-hmm. No beekeeping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't think it's a short-lived career.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like I couldn't be a chef because you're usually around like lots of peanuts and I'm allergic to peanuts. I'll
Yeah.
just die.
You needed a bubble boy.
Yeah,
Thing. See,
that's
it's
me.
good. Your mother should congratulate herself that you made it 28.
Seriously.
Okay, what's your favorite curse word? I think we know this one already.
Yeah, a big F bomb is good for me.
Footwork.
It's actually like the best. It's a great adjective. Yeah, it's a great verb. It's a great
It can mean anything, right? It emphasizes the right feeling,
always,
positive or negative.
always. You can.
I get told that I make it sound quite polite with my accent.
Yes,
Lee's accent's messed up, so it is the same love. But I say it, and people are like, "How can you make that sound polite?" Okay, final question.
Okay.
Finishing strong. If heaven exists, what would you like God to say when you reach the pearly gates?
Ooh, he like something along the lines of like unlimited pizza, tacos, and margaritas.
So it's food, isn't it? Unlimited.
Yeah, like
it's an all-you-can-eat buffet
of all included. Like like it's just like here you go. That's yours. Margaritas on tap.
There you
Fantastic. On the rocks or blended?
There's a time and place for everything.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I like them on the rocks.
I mean,
otherwise I drink them too fast and I get a brain freeze and then I'm in pain.
I say I drink them too fast if they're on the rocks. It just goes down quicker.
Yeah.
So. Oh yeah. Well,
like, I'm done. Brain
freeze.
Yeah.
I'm done. Next.
Yeah.
I've had that happen before.
Well, that concludes our podcast, Danny. Really nice to meet you. Before we let you go, Lee, is there anything else we want to ask Danny or find out from him?
Absolutely. Where in the world can people follow you? Like, what are your socials? Where can they find you? Tournament schedule, you name it. Anything you'd like to share? Phone number, whatever you want.
Yeah, phone, social security number first. Let's go. So my Instagram handle, which is usually what I'm most active on, second Jensen, 2ND, JENSEN, not SE. Yeah, you guys get it. Okay. And I'll play a lot of PPAs this year. More PPAs have been scheduled towards the West Coast and more APPs towards the East Coast, but I'm trying to find my balance of both. You know how it is with like partners and being in different places.
Yeah.
So a few more PPAs and APPs, but trying to get some both in there. And then hopefully coaching a little bit, doing what I can. Just let me know.
Yeah.
I'm always around.
Are you going to Sacramento?
I'm not going. I'm going to Minnesota instead of Sacramento. I have a bunch of friends in Minnesota and I have no friends in Sacramento. So it just like.
We could have got to hang out. I know. Yeah, no, I want to definitely know your schedule, see where we sync up, because I want to do some stuff and maybe teach a camp or two.
Let's do it. So, you let me know.
Always down. Get them on the books. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, so nice to meet you, mate.
Thank you.
Pleasure chatting, and I will be keeping my eye on you now and following you, and super time. So thanks for coming to the Absolute Pickle podcast. See you next time.